Hello, and welcome to another episode of When She No Longer Cooks for You, Here's What You Do. I'm Marcus, of course, you guys call me Moore, and today we're back in City Island with this guy right here. You know who this guy is. My boy Bobby's back on the show. Bobby, welcome back, man. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing better now that you're here.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be on this show, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Now, it's been a minute. We had you on before. You rocked out. You did your thing. Very proud of the segment. A lot of people saw it. You inspired a lot of freaking people.
That's wonderful.
What are we cooking today?
Today, I'm going to start off with an arugula salad.
Okay.
With carrots, cucumbers, pine nuts, tomatoes, and diced shallots.
Okay.
And with a nice and easy oil and vinegar salad, because arugula is full of plenty taste.
Mm-hmm.
You almost don't even do much with it. It's spicy. It's got a unique flavor to it.
Okay.
So, in my research, people do little to it, and it has.
Just let it be.
It's got enough characteristics in the lettuce itself that it's very tasteful. Yeah, and it's good for your health. It increases blood flow, which is supposedly supposed to be good for libido.
Okay.
And it could help with some guys who might be having some trouble with blood flow in certain places.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We all need that help.
It was used. It was used as an aphrodisiac.
Okay.
Way back when. So, with that, So we'll start with that salad, and then we're going to do a surf and turf.
Okay.
I'm going to do ribeye with lobster tail, beurre blanc for the lobster tails, and herb butter for the steak, with potatoes Dutchess.
Okay.
Which is potatoes just with egg yolk in it, and it was what the Queen used to request back in the days, and along with lemon zested asparagus.
Wow. You stay educating us.
Oh, thank you.
You're giving us history lessons and all that.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I'm here for you guys.
So listen, you also, I want you to talk about as you're cooking, because you also got some things going on as far as cooking as well. So definitely he'll be talking about that as he's flowing.
Definitely.
Listen, when she no longer wants to cook for you, Bobby, City Island, cold outside, is about to show us what to do. Bobby, do your thing.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And I'll follow that with a dessert creme brulee. And I'm going to do a wintry drink since it was cold and it's wintertime, it's February. It's going to be a cinnamon ginger apple cider drink.
Wow.
Apple cider ginger with garnish with cinnamon. That's what I should say. I haven't named it yet, but it's got all that wonderful.
Now, you know the funny thing is, talking to you, Bobby, and when you text me what you was going to cook, I had to look some of this stuff up because Bobby's using words in the kitchen that I'm like, okay. So I got to look it up to educate myself, because the brother's always educating. You're going to pick up a lot of tips from him, and he's going to be throwing down. So get your pad and pencil. You may have to Google some of the stuff he's saying. That's how deep the brother is. But we about to get out his way. We about to let him rock out. When she only wants to cook for you, Bobby about to show us what to do. We'll be right back.
Let's do this. Yep. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to get started with, I got arugula salad here, nice and rinsed out. What I'm going to be doing is put about 2 ounces of shredded carrots, 2 ounces of chopped cucumber, pine nuts, about the same, about 2 ounces. I have chopped shallots or diced shallots. And last but not least, we got tomatoes, good for lycopene. There's a lot of good nutrients in here. Let me get my tongs so I could do some spinning here. Now, what I toss arugula salads with, since arugula has so much flavor characteristics, I only do oil and vinegar. You don't really play with arugula too much. Oil, vinegar, keep it simple. And it's got all the other flavors. Pine nuts have a nice creaminess to it, and they're extremely healthy for you. So nuts are always wonderful to put in salads. Also a good source of protein as well. So right now I'm just gonna, this is avocado oil. So I'll be drizzling some of that in, tossing it well. Now I got apple cider vinegar next, which is like my favorite. Just a little bit of that. A little bit of vinegar goes a long way. It's strong. So, and the oil is going to balance out the vinegar. So this is a wonderful salad to start with. And let's go to maybe getting a bowl. Sometimes the nuts will fall to the bottom, so you want to mix it very well and get everything in the mix. So that's our salad to start with. After this, I'm going to be doing ribeye and lobster tails. So this is healthy, and then we veer off into the not so healthy side, but it ain't going to kill you, in moderation, you know. We got to treat ourselves. So, yeah, ribeye, lobster tails coming up. Let me get this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is, these are Dutch's potatoes. It's mashed potatoes. You know, you mash them down. I usually boil my potatoes till they're about fork tender, and you kind of want to cut them down, quarter them, cut them in fours. They cook quicker. The bigger they are, the longer they take. So you start to mash it, you drain the water, and you're gonna mash, and then after you get it down to like a nice, not consistency, but you just get it down, and then you're gonna add butter, heavy cream, and then after that, you add 3 egg yolks. And you just mix that up, let it come down to room temperature. After it comes to room temperature, you form like little patties, and you put it on parchment paper. And after this, you could store it for a day, which is what I did, overnight. And yeah, so these are great in the fridge to store overnight. And you just saran wrap it, and the next day you come in, you pop it in 350 for about 20 minutes, half hour, and you'll be able to take a spatula, lift it off right on the plate, and it'll be nice and creamy. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually pop them in now. And after that, I'm going to get my pan going for the searing of my ribeyes. Yeah, so pans you want to get nice and hot, at least to the temperature of 375. I don't have a temperature to measure it, but it's usually when the pan is smoky. So a thick pan like that is going to take a little minute to heat up. So you just relax and kind of give it its time. When you see the pan smoking, you want to add oil. Then you let that relax. When that oil starts to smoke, you lower the flame to a nice medium heat, and then you start to sear. With ribeyes, we could do 4 minutes on each side, and depending on how you like it cooked is about how long we keep it in the oven. 7 minutes is going to be about rare, medium rare, and then about 10 is going to be medium to medium well. And the longer you go, the less blood you'll have inside, basically. So let's see how this is going here. I'm going to sear with avocado oil because it has a higher heating point. It could catch a high heating point without going crazy, basically. And olive oil is cool, but I've been leaning towards avocado oil lately. So a lot of people have, actually. right, so I'm gonna add oil, very little oil. I added oil to the steak as well. So to catch a good sear, you don't wanna have too much oil. You wanna have the least amount of oil, but enough to actually let it just kind of dance around in there. Well, not even dance, because you're gonna put it down and don't even touch it. A lot of people, they put the steak down, they like to fidget with it. Don't do that. Put it down, walk away, do something else. It's just doing bad for the steak. And so you give it its time to cook. You sear both sides. You sear one side, turn it on the other, and then that's when you stick it in the oven. And that's when you're gonna get the rest of the cooking on. So I'm gonna check the pot or my pan, and I think we're ready to go. Yep. So now my oil is smoking. So that means we're ready to go. When I put it in, I always want to put it down and away from you. No splatter. If it splatters, it goes away from you. I'm raising the heat. I want it a little hotter, but I'm just going to let it sit there and let it do its thing. After I turn it on the other side, I'm going to throw a sprig of rosemary and some thyme in there to saute with it. And I'm going to go to my fridge and get some herbs. I'll be right back. All right, so I got thyme and rosemary. After I flip it, I'm going to put that in along with some butter. Because then later we're going to baste the steak with some butter. And then, oh, that's where you look like a rock star. Whoever comes over and sees you put the butter over the steak, and then they're going to be like, wow, what's he doing over there? Or what's she doing? Or whoever's cooking. Yeah, you see. You see. So you got probably about another 2 minutes on this side right here. And we'll give it its time. There's nothing wrong with lifting the pan either and letting the oil kind of go from one side to the other, but we never want to touch the steak. Now you can start to play with it to see if it moves, but you never want to rip it off, because an executive chef will kill you for that. But you know, we're all home cooks here, and we all want to do the best that we can while we're home. And this is how you get, what you're doing is when you sear, you're locking in the juices. So it's a seal around the whole thing, and then oven time to cook it from all the way around until it cooks into the middle. So I think we're about to get time to flip. Not yet. Now, it's important before you cook a steak to let it sit at room temperature for half hour to 45 minutes. I put a cold steak in here, it's not going to sear right. The temperatures are going to be different, it's going to take longer, and the sear is just not going to be what it's supposed to be. So let the meat sit out for about at least 45 minutes and come to room temperature before you work with it. I'm going to put on the vent. Working with cast iron, you do get a lot of smoke. So you got to be prepared for that. And hopefully you got a good vent, a good hood that'll take your smoke out, because the place can get smoky and it makes it uncomfortable and not good for people with asthma. Yep, so it's still cooking. I gotta be patient. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw that sprig of rosemary in now. Why not, right? Take the time also. Why not? No, I like this side better. Still not ready to come up yet. Even sometimes I could get impatient too, so I gotta put myself in check there, you know. What I like to do on the side is also prep, clean my station as well. These steaks are for later, so I'm gonna put them to the side. But we always want to clean as we go also. A clean station is a safe station. And a station can get dirty real quick too. With a lot of people, even by yourself, you turn around and you notice there's a whole mess behind you. So remember to stay on top of the cleanliness of your kitchen. Around this way. All right, so now we got lift time now. Now we're flipping. Bam. Beautiful. What I'm gonna do, add a little butter to that. Yeah, that was heavy. That was a two-hander, it should have been, but that's gonna cook in there for about another, we'll say about another 7 minutes, and then we'll put it out and let it rest. After we pull it out, I'm gonna cook my lobster tails. What I do is 8 minutes, I bake them for 8 minutes. I bake them for 8 minutes. I brush them with oil, bake for 8, and then in the broiler for 3 minutes. With an herb butter that I've made. So I'll show you guys that when it comes. And then we're going to do the asparagus. We'll saute the asparagus in the same herb butter. That's going to be on the steak, you know, in the lobster tail and everything, you know. So it's versatile. My herb butter. You just melt a stick of butter down, chop some thyme, rosemary. I put lemon zest in there, salt, pepper, oregano too, but you don't want to overdo it with herbs. I like keep it simple, thyme and rosemary, and just a lot of love, salt, pepper, and you could use that for a whole bunch of different things. Oh, garlic also. Sorry if I forgot that, and shallots. I have all in that butter. So whatever you put that butter on is going to have all those flavors inside of them, you know? So I will, I'll be back. You know, so I got 11 minutes, I'm sorry, 8 minutes on the bake and 3 minutes broiling with the lobster tails. So that's how that goes. And for the lobster tails, I'm going to make up a blanc, which is a French sauce. It is a white wine, shallot, heavy cream, butter, and lots of love, and people love it. You know, I know a kid that just likes to just drink the sauce. Literally, he takes a straw and he's like, but you know, we gotta inform him that's not the best thing to do. You know, but it's just the taste. He loves the taste, and that's what it is. You know. So I'm checking my time. I really don't want to overcook my lobster tails. So excuse me for going off camera for a second there. What I did want to say is that I picked up a nice little audience with my cooking. Thanks to Marcus, he got me back into my cooking again. I was sitting around like, oh man, never gonna happen again. Then I get a phone call from Marcus, gives me the opportunity. So now I'm back in my thing, looking up recipes, making up my own recipes. And I've met somebody on a multiple sclerosis website because I have MS and she has MS as well. And 7 years have gone by, and now she wants cooking lessons from me. So from New York City, I'm giving her cooking lessons online, FaceTime, through Facebook right now. That's the platform we're using, but I like to go to Zoom. But what I want to offer is the service of instructing people online, one-on-one. You got me there, ask any questions, and we mess up together, we learn together. I've noticed with teaching, I've learned stuff myself with teaching her. So you teach, you learn again. I had a teacher in high school and I could never understand it, Mr. Potter. He always used to tell me, Robert, you should look into teaching. You know, I didn't see it back then. He saw something in me. And, you know, I hear his voice in my head still, you know, and I wish he could see these episodes, you know, but all these years later, he still inspires me to teach and spread what I know. And I'm into making each other better, you know, build each other up. You know, we can teach, and teachers learn from students all the time as well. And it's taught me patience as well too. And not everybody has the same culinary school skills as everyone else, so you got to be patient. That's taught me patience. So it's a service that I would love to offer, and my email is bxchef829@gmail.com, and I'm available 24 hours. You could text me, and we could build a relationship and talk, and we could make it. We could just make it a thing, you know. And it would be my pleasure to meet who's ever out there, and just work with you and just make ourselves better. You would have a new dish in your repertoire, you know, when you think about it. And it's like me being in your home without me being there physically, all the way from New York City. So wherever you at, I'll get to you. And so that's something I want to run with. It's small now, but it was an idea that I had. So now we're keep going. And if anything, it's a good time we have together. So I've done it with a couple different people, but I have one client. She keeps coming back. And we both share the same disease, which is MS. So I have to keep in mind that she goes through her physical challenges as well too. By the time we're done with the meal, she could barely stand sometimes. She has physical problems walking. But you know what? We still get the meal out, and she still gets it out too. And now her family is requesting my food, and they're old school. They don't break out of what they eat. But now it's like, wait, what's Bobby making us? So all the way from New York, they're over there, Illinois, Chicago area. And it's been so much fun because it's brought her parents' generation and my generation together, you know, and it's a communicator. And you can find a common ground in food. And her dad was saying that he wants this meal for his birthday. So at 75 years old and never had surf and turf before. But when I made it, he's like, that's it, home run. So that's a thrill for me. It really is. And I'm not even making any money right now. So sometimes I'll be honest, there's times I don't got no food in my fridge, but they got surf and turf over there and they're making it. And then they're going to eat, and I'm like, oh, now I got to find something to eat. But that's how it is, man, you know, and I have no problem with that. I'm not saying all the time, but it's happened before, you know. And yes, again, I would like to order that service. And this is actually my logo. I'm an artist, so I went with a heart around the skyline of a city, but then in the middle of the skyline is a heartbeat. So New York City is my heartbeat, basically. So I want this to be my logo for whatever we do culinary-wise, and that's that, man. You know, I got to thank COVID for doing this, for making work at home. Like seriously, I sat there, was like, all right, what can I do here? Tons of stuff I realized that I could do. So even sitting still, I'm moving, you know? Thank you for listening. I'm gonna get back into my cooking here. So, yes. All right, we're done with these. I lost a little time there for a second. But it's looking good because now I go to broiling. I go to broiling now. It's bake first and broil second, okay? So now I'm warming up my broiler. I'm gonna put it on high because we want a nice blast. And this is my herb butter that I'll be spreading on the lobster tails too. Put a nice healthy serving. And if you put too much, it's gonna go down to the side. It's all flavor, baby, you know? So remember, it's your kitchen, you're the boss. Don't let nobody tell you how to do stuff. Even if you do it wrong, run with it. Have confidence, you know? And that's what most of this is, cooking, good timing and confidence. Sometimes you might have to talk your way through a meal. People say you messed up and then no. And so yeah, having confidence does work when you have guests and you might be unsure about something, make it up, and then correct it the next time you see him. My bad, you know, I was wrong that time, but keep it flowing, you know. So I'm gonna check on my broiler. It's not ready yet. The broiler will be ready in a second. So I would love to make myself available to anyone. And now with my MS, I realize that everything's on a day-to-day basis. Some days I wake up with energy and I can do stuff, and the next day I'm done. I was supposed to film this episode maybe about 2 months ago, and I hadn't had my infusion, and I was just, I couldn't get up. I couldn't do much. Walk down the block straight. But I just got my infusion last month, so we scheduled it, and Marcus is understanding, and I love that. So with that said, you know, I got to take it day by day, and it's taught me a lot about myself, what I have inside of me, and I got a lot more than I thought, man. We all do. So dig deep, because I found all this, a lot of my creations came when I was at my lowest, my hardest times. One of my favorite logos that I've drawn was my first day in the shelter. It took me a year to finish it. And, all right, so I'm gonna post this in, I'm sorry. So now I'm broiling for 3, and this is important to stay on top of this time, okay? So. So yes, multiple sclerosis has taught me a lot about myself. I've always looked at the downside of things on what I couldn't do, what I can't do, but nowadays I'm like, what can I do with it? And if I'm limping to a place, then I'll just give myself more time to get there. And I'll limp, but I'll get there, trust me. Might be a little, you know, but I got a drive in me. And I might have MS, but MS does not have me. And that's for sure. It's, I don't know, I could talk all day. It's created new work for me. It's made new friends. I've lost some friends, and certain people you thought were going to be there that just, where you at? You know, you call, but that's when you see, when your hard times, who your people are and your friends are, who are going to be in your corner. So it's been an eye opener. But the one thing I've learned is don't hate, because a lot of people get mad because other people don't understand. Well, I have MS, how come they don't understand? Well, you know, it's kind of hard to step in somebody else's shoes, you know, and really, and see what it's like. So I try to explain to people thoroughly and with education. It's good to learn as much as you can about whatever you're going through. Textbook terms and all that. So myelin was one of the terms I first learned about, and that's the protection around our brain cells. Now the breaking down of the myelin is MS. The breaking down of the cell wall, your body sees that and they're like, oh, wait, something's happening there. We have to fix it, your white blood cells. So basically your white blood cells are attacking yourself when they see the hardening of that. And that's what MS is, basically. Like an extension cord. When an extension cord, the outside is worn out, it's not going to work right. That's exactly the same thing with MS is. The outer insulation is getting broken down by our own bodies, basically. And it's myelin degeneration. So we have to, what I'm trying to do is rebuild my myelin and support that, which they're saying lion's mane mushrooms are very good for supporting brain health, so memory and all that. So people with dementia have been known to benefit off of lion's mane. Just to throw that out there. So that's it. Bam. That's love right there. I don't know if you guys can see. The paper got burnt, but that's gonna happen, you know. And it's nice and tender. So I'll close that up. And after this, I would like to show you guys how I make the sauce that goes with the lobster. Sorry, wrong camera. But I'm gonna make the sauce, a beurre blanc. And it's a sauce that you build up little by little. You start with shallots and you put white wine or vermouth. I'll be using vermouth. And chicken stock and then heavy cream. And that's gonna be the sauce for your lobster tail. Be right back. Hey guys, how you doing? We're back. I've let my steak rest. It kind of went a little over what I wanted, but it's at well done right now. And I was just cutting it to see the temperature. I usually cut it on a slant, on a bias. And then you could fan it out. But that's a well done steak right there. Right now I'm going to saute my asparagus. Again, I'm going to saute with my herb butter. But first we'll put a little avocado oil and then finish it off with herb butter. You never really want to cook with butter because butter's going to burn eventually. The butter's a good finisher at the end, then you mix it in almost with the residual heat that you have. That's what I like to do. So I got my asparagus over here. Asparagus is extremely healthy for you. Delicious, healthy. I'm a big lemon zest guy, so I put lemon zest on everything. And my herb butter has lemon zest too. Ha! I just broke my rule. I said I wasn't gonna cook with the butter, but yeah, this time I'm gonna break the rules, all right? You guys got me there. But it's okay, it's fixable. And if you can't fix it, throw it out and just start over again, you know? We're not in a competition. You're only in competition with yourself. So that's what I tell people. I'm only in competition with myself. I'm only as good as the last thing I made. So that's what people are gonna remember. So make sure you make it good. Make it count, baby. So what I've done is blanch. I blanched the asparagus. And blanching basically is putting it in hot water for a couple seconds, not much. And what it's going to do is open up the color of it and brings the chlorophyll out. So your asparagus gets bright. You blanch it, and it gets brighter actually when you shock it. Actually, I'm sorry, but I meant when you shock it, which means you're shocking it by putting it from the heat of the pan straight into cold water. So I should have said the heat of the boiling water. It's going to be hot, but you want to put it from boiling water straight into cold, and you're going to see the brightness of the vegetable, whatever you're cooking. You can do it with green beans, asparagus. Yeah, so shocking. It's hot water for a couple, maybe about a minute or two, and then you want to finish it off sauteing. So it basically is thoroughly cooking it. Yeah, so cooking the outside is basically what you're doing with the steam at first. Shock it, and then now we're cooking like through the middle. So it's going to be thoroughly cooked. All right, asparagus is done. That steak is a little over than what I usually like, I'll be honest. I think the talking, I kind of got lost, but that's a well done steak. Now, what I'm going to do is show you a beurre blanc sauce. And then I could use this pan right here. Yeah, if you want to clean a pan out, just wet it while it's still hot, and it slides right off all the stuff. Now I'm going to reuse it since it still has the heat. Now I'm going right into my beurre blanc sauce, which is a classic French sauce. Okay. 1 second. I also did forget about the potatoes that I made. Dutch's potatoes, which are over here as well. So I'm going to slide some on there. Let me get a spatula. Now, being that we put egg in it, the 3 egg yolks that I was talking about, it's going to come up a lot quicker. Look at that, like a pancake. So bomb. That's going to be that. Now, if it's looking a little dry, brush it with some butter. I'm going to melt some more because it's kind of got a little hard. No, rather use it on the corner. Got butter, and this will keep it like nice and glistened. And butter and potatoes match beautifully together, and you can still brush them over. Yeah. Now we start with shallots. My pan might be a little hot, so I'm going to lower it down a little. Shallots. Now shallots cook pretty quick and they're small, so I'm going to put my wine or my vermouth in right after, about 30 seconds when you start to smell the shallots. Like that. Let that cook and we let it reduce. What it means is you're reducing the water and the alcohol out of it. So you see all that steam right there? That's the alcohol getting burnt out of it. And that takes about 30 seconds. And you'll smell the alcohol coming out as well. No, nobody's gonna get drunk off of a sauce with alcohol. I know people do think that. So now I'm gonna grab some chicken stock. I'll let that cook down a little more. And then we're gonna stock it. Let the chicken stock cool down a little bit. Now, this was my bad because this chicken stock should have been kept warm. Whenever you're adding stuff to hot stuff, you want it to be warm because if it's cold, then it has to almost rewind, go backwards, get back to temperature. That takes time. So this was my fault or my mistake. And, it happens, you know. But so this is about room temperature, which is okay. So, adding stock. Now I put about half a cup of stock. We're gonna let that cook down. When that cooks down, then we're going to add heavy cream. And then that's when the sauce starts to come together and starts looking fancy. It's funny because you put shallots in it. When you make the sauce, it's like almost the shallots disappear when the sauce is made. And you'll see what I mean after I'm done with it. But this is beurre blanc, classic French sauce. So yes, heavy cream. And I want this to reduce a little more actually. Yeah. So I don't want to put my cream in right now because it's still a little liquidy. If I was to put cream, you would have to reduce liquidy cream. We don't want liquidy cream. You want that to reduce and then throw the cream in so it blends in and meshes together. And it'll take longer if you have to do it in that fashion. But everything in steps. So when I bring things to a boil, or when you want to simmer something, bring it to a hard boil and then run it at its boil, which is 212. Water can't get any hotter than 212. So it's boiling, then you bring it down medium or whatever temperature you like. It's gonna hold the heat, but then not be as wild. So you wanna control the temperature after your water's boiling. Because sometimes that rolling boil, sometimes it can overflow and We don't want that. So yeah, we're reducing now. And vermouth and white wine, after the meal is done, you can't tell the difference that you've used either or. Some people do get disappointed. Oh, vermouth, no. We're going for the base flavor of it. You know, we're reducing all the liquid and the alcohol. You're going for the base flavor of the white wine, the vermouth, and it's a wonderful taste in sauces. So yes, I'm giving it its time. It's reducing. So yes, I'll get back into what I was doing with the tutorials. I don't even know whether to call it tutorial or I'm teaching. I don't have a teaching degree, so, and you know, honestly, that doesn't matter. I don't feel, but it is nice to have on the wall. I respect teachers, and I'm not trying to take anything away from people who have degrees or anything, but I don't, and I'll still teach you. I'll teach you something good to put on the table. I do it all from the heart. And if I don't know it, I'll research it and find it out. Because nobody knows it all. There's certain chefs that screaming at you. Nah, nobody knows it all. Sorry. Now with all the different types of cuisine there are in this world, listen, Japan, sushi, rice, takes 10 years to learn how to make. And then they let you make sushi. You gotta make rice for 10 years. Now just think about that discipline, you know? It takes time. So yeah. I just want to say food is my love. It's gotten me out of a lot. It's got me into a lot as well as far as opportunities. And this is one that I can't thank Marcus enough for. So I appreciate it. So let me get back to this sauce. There we go. It's reduced. So now I got my heavy cream going in, which I want to whisk. Come on, Robert. Oh. Yeah. So, yeah, it is funny. I learned this in school, and even my chef was like, the shallots just disappear. They and then you'll see when you eat. So I want to season after I'm done with sauces. All sauces you do at the end. You don't do salt and pepper before. You do it after when you're tasting. Because if you over salt, over pepper, you're done. You can't reverse that. So I'm letting this cook down. And then the heavy cream has to reduce as well too. It has water as well. So you want to reduce all those things, reduce all the liquid, and go down to the base flavor of it. So I gotta say, one of my best teachers, or the best people I've learned off of, was the old school, our elders. My grandmother was the first one to teach me how to cook. I first got my first apartment in Woodside, Queens, living on my own. I got out the Navy. I didn't know what I was doing. But she's like, no, you gotta cook. Yeah, so she taught me how to rice and beans, how to make that, and I perfected that. But I attribute all of this to my grandmother for getting me started, and almost every meal is an honor to her, basically, how I look at it. I know she'd be proud if she saw me here, but it's my way of honoring her for when I do all this, you know. So thank you, Grandma FIFA. Her name was Josefa, but as a kid, a lot of us as kids couldn't say Josefa, so we said FIFA, and then yeah, it's stuck. So, yeah. So let me check on this sauce. Talking too much. And it's funny because I know I'm supposed to be here talking. I'm not much of a talker. However, I do love to share knowledge and education or whatever I have that made me better. I wanted to make you better as well. You know, why not build each other up instead of just stepping on somebody and, oh, that's what you're doing? How long is that going to last? I'd rather be like, yeah, how can I help you get up? You know, that's what we need more in our communities. Yeah. So, but with food, I feel food, we can all come together and over a nice meal, you break bread and you sit around Thanksgiving and you create memories. So yeah, now I'm getting my sauce down to the consistency I like. It's at a heavy roll with the boiling, but that's okay because I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. If anything's at a heavy roll with the boil, you want to at least be there to watch it and monitor it because it could go out of control quick. So what I do with sauces and sauteing, I churn with one hand and the other hand goes back and forth like that and this. So this with this hand and then you spin with the other. So now it's reducing. Now you're starting to see the thickness coming in. Yeah, we're almost done. Surf and turf. What I have as a dessert, I don't know if I mentioned it, was creme brulee. And what I'm doing for a drink is apple cider ginger cinnamon drink. I haven't come up with a name for it, but it's good. And it's a wintry drink, but it could be drank all year round. I love apple cider all year round, but at this time of year is the best, you know. So, and then with no ice too. So this drink has no ice, and it's garnished with a cinnamon stick. So you let it sit, and the cinnamon stick is gonna mesh with all the other flavors, and apple cider and the ginger ale. It's actually ginger beer is what you mix with it, and it has a nice effervescence. Is that the word? Nice and crispy, you know. When you taste something, it's like, oh man, you know, it's like effervescence. Is that the word that they're using for that crispy, carbonated feel, I guess? But yeah, if you make this drink, you'll see. Mark is gonna know. He will. You're gonna learn soon. You're gonna learn about that, man. And we all will, because you know, I haven't had this drink I haven't had in a while. I do forget about all the stuff that I've made, and I come around to doing it again, and I'm like, really? I made this? You know, I got into the food industry in 1999. I was a waiter first, making great money, and then I realized working behind the line, I would have enjoyed more making less money. People were like, what are you doing with it? But I had the passion to be behind the line, and I kind of BS my way to an executive chef. And he told me, hey, I'll try you out. You can work in my restaurant. I was a waiter at the time. I said, yo, I really want to get into the food game. He says, hey, come by. Work for me for 3 days. I'll try you out. We'll see how that goes. I worked for him for 3 days for free. Nothing. Banged it out. Eventually, in the first paycheck, he gave me that money that he said he couldn't pay me. He wanted to see if I was going to show up. The restaurant I worked for threw that money out with nothing. It was not. He wanted to see if I was going to show up, and I'm glad I did, because about 24 years later, I'm doing this, and it flew by. Oh, here we go. Yes. All right. So we're at the consistency. This is my beurre blanc sauce. I don't know if you can see that. Beautiful, nice and creamy. And that's for the lobster. Now with beurre blanc, since it's an emulsified sauce, which means it's been built slowly, little by little, it's gradually built up. those sauces can break very easy. If the sauce stays in a hot temperature, the oil separates from all the components, other components, and you got a layer and it looks horrible. So what you want to do in the meantime is keep the beurre blanc in a warm place, not nothing hot. So I'm going to put it in this little ramekin. I'm salt and pepper. I forgot to put salt and pepper, by the way. Sorry for giving you guys my back, but sometimes it happens. Yeah, look at that. Uh-oh. Wow, that doesn't even fit really, but that's your sauce for your lobster tails. And that's basically the surf and turf right there. What I'm going to do is get some herb butter as well. Place it on top. Now the steak has been resting a while and I think it's lost its heat. So the butter should actually melt over. Here, you know what? We'll make this a little nicer. So yeah, usually you're gonna have a hot steak and you pull out the butter and then it melts right along the whole length of the steak and it's beautiful. It's nice. Here, it's not really a big enough plate, but yeah, that's for your thing. Bam. So surf and turf with beurre blanc, herb butter for the steak, lemon zested asparagus, and lobster tails, and Dutch's potatoes, which was a request from the Queen back in the days. And it's a really nice, elegant presentation, but it's supposed to be, right? So we're supposed to pipe this in a piping bag. And with potatoes, you can put it in a bag and swirl it out. It's supposed to look like a flower. Now, me, I do mashed potatoes with the skin on it. So I did some knucklehead stuff where the skin is, and then the skin on the potato did not allow it to pass through the bag. So it's not supposed to look like this. So I had to improvise, which when you're in the kitchen, you're gonna have to improvise because things could go left quick. So I was sitting there disappointed because all day I was like, wow, I'm gonna make nice florets with the potatoes, and nothing came out. My forearms were about to burst because it just wouldn't come out. And it was, yeah. So I'll explain that. I should have known better, and I know better. But yeah, I guess in the heat of the moment, trying to get everything out, you know, that happens though. So yeah. And I've learned in the kitchen, the best thing to do if you're wrong, admit it. And I know I said go with if you're wrong, but then in certain positions, when you got somebody who called you on it, just admit, yeah, I messed up. And it'll be better if you just admitting you don't know everything. I feel is the first sign of wisdom. You tell people you don't know everything, you're automatically saying you want to learn more, you know. So always acquire more wisdom. I respect somebody who is more smarter the next day. than they were prior. So yeah, keep learning, and we keep going. So like I said, I might have multiple sclerosis, but multiple sclerosis does not have me. And I would tattoo that on me, but I don't get tattoos no more. But it's something that's in my heart, man, you know. And it had me for a while, I'm not gonna lie. But not no more, tell you that much. I'll be back. We're back. How's it going, guys? So now I'll be jumping into a creme brulee. And what I'm making now is the creme glace, is what they would call it. So I need egg yolks. I need 4 egg yolks, which I'm separating now. Now, every chef, usually you see them do the, you know, the open up quick and all that. I have neuropathy in my hands, which means my hands are completely numb. Completely numb. So, with that said, I fumble a lot of stuff. Sometimes I'll grab an egg too hard. And I have control over my hands, but the feeling in my hands is gone. So you gotta bear with me here. Uh-oh. Sometimes egg yolk shoots off to the left. So when you're separating egg yolks, you let the albumin, which is the white, just fall through your fingers basically and pass it back and forth like that. Now, all the albumin has gone now, but I'm just showing how you pass it back, and then eventually you just get the yolk. Now, I'm kind of being Conan the Barbarian here, the way I did that, because that's honestly the only way I can crack eggs like that. So this is where I've had to work with MS. I might not be able to crack an egg like everybody else does, but I'll get the egg cracked. You know? So that's been basically what I have had to do. Almost reinvent myself. Or I should say, better than reinvent, I had to rediscover myself. Reinventing is one thing, but rediscovering yourself is another. You know, rediscovering, you're finding stuff you already had. And almost like talent slept on, you know, by yourself, and it could be others too. So yeah, see, I was beast mode on that one, but it's okay. These things happen. And just as I was saying eggshell, I got an eggshell in there. So I did that for y'all, so y'all can see that. You know what I mean? Sometimes these things happen. And honestly, in the kitchen, in a fast-moving kitchen, it's almost like anything that can happen will happen. You run out of stuff at the last minute. Excuse my back, but you'll run out of stuff, and in the heat of the moment, I mean, I've seen cooks walk off the line and never come back again, fired on the spot for not keeping their cool. People want to see that you could keep your cool even in chaos, and that's hard. It's not easy. So I got that warming up. So now what I want to do with my eggs, what I'll be doing here is warming up heavy cream, sugar, and vanilla. Now, traditionally, like a lot of other desserts, this calls for vanilla bean. By the way, vanilla bean is the most expensive spice in the world. $15 for one long bean. And I had a really hard time finding it in Manhattan. So vanilla extract is definitely your plan B. I was really saddened that I couldn't find it yesterday, and I wanted to do it for the episode to have everything 100%, but you have to learn that that doesn't always happen. So it was disappointing though. That vanilla bean, a lot of chefs know vanilla bean is That's precious, you know. So what I'm going to be doing, this heat is the heat. The milk is warming up. I'm going to add half a cup of sugar. I know it's a lot. I told you guys this one's going to be the healthiest. Okay. Half a cup of sugar and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, because what you do with the vanilla bean is you cut it down the middle long ways and you're going to scrape the inside seeds out of it, and that's gold right there. And what you do is you put that in this, but what I have is the extract, which is the next best thing. But ideally, so with proportion wise, I saw how much they pull out, and it's about half a teaspoon in the liquid form. So we'll put half a teaspoon in here. You know, let all that melt together. Sugar, vanilla, heavy cream. We'll let that cook and mesh together. After this is nice and hot, we get everything going. What we're going to do is pour it into our egg yolks, and we're going to temper it. Now you're going to pour that hot liquid into this and try not to make it cook and curdle. So that could happen if you pour it in too fast. So what I do, I ladle it in little by little, and it'll mesh together and it won't curdle as much. So you got to watch the temperature of the heavy cream too. So it can come up to a boil and then overflow really quick. But really, to tell when it's done, when it's ready to go, you're going to get little bubbles on top of the heavy cream, which they're starting to form. Now this is a nice, beautiful dessert. It's elegant, but it's actually easy. It's not hard. So you'll impress a lot of people if you do this one. Creme brulee, everybody's eyes always open. You know, whoa. It's a custardy dessert, and it's delicious actually. And it has, what you do is you cover it with brown sugar in the raw, and you burn it with a torch. It's my favorite part. You burn it with a torch and it forms a crust over it, and you have that crust with the creme brulee and like the custard, and they're both just magic, absolute magic. So I'm gonna show you what to do when she no longer wants to cook for you. All right, that's what this is all about. How did I get into cooking? I was a latchkey kid in the 80s. A lot of us were. We all hung out with each other. We took care of each other, got each other to school and everything. But I got home, my mom wasn't home most of the time, still working. And I would reheat food. And then from there, I helped her prepping salads and doing this, cut this and that. And it was time well spent together too. We got to talk about our day, relieve a little stress. If I ever got in trouble, she would sit there and be like, Bobby, you in trouble, and while I'm prepping too. And I'm like, oh man, you know. So it was a lot of different things that we shared together while cooking. And of course, I started reheating stuff, and it evolved into me cooking for my friends when we got together, because I was the only one who could actually handle stuff. And then it just evolved into me doing this now. And I would have never thought in a million years I'd be teaching for one, or doing a cooking show. I'll admit, as a kid, in my younger days, I didn't even like my voice. My mother had an answer machine, and she would play back her messages, and I'd be like, who is that? Like, who is that? My mom's like, that's you. Like, and it just didn't sound right coming from the machine, and I don't know, I wasn't comfortable with hearing my voice like that, so I tell her to turn it off. But now, at 45 years old, I'm starting to grow into my voice. And it started a couple years prior, but I actually did, I'm an artist, so I did a storyboard for a friend of mine who's a filmmaker. During COVID, he wanted to film with all his people, and the storyboard is basically like a comic book version of a movie script. You draw it out so the director can see angles. And next thing I know, all his actors dropped out. So he's like, hey, do you want to act? I said, sure. I acted, I did it, I banged it out. And when the teacher saw the video, he liked my voice. So that inspired me to do voice work now. And I'm trying to get into the voice game, which is very hard, but I'm narrating. I'm narrating my own story. And I love poetry. I love Edgar Allan Poe. So I've been reciting those poems, narrating, and it's been a lot of fun. So, okay, back to what I'm doing here. I'm mixing this heavy cream, vanilla, and we're going into the egg yolk without making the egg yolk cook or letting the egg yolk cook. So, it's doing good now. So I do it real slow. Well, not real slow, but take your time. Bam. Now that is your custard, and we're going to pour this into cups, and we're going to put it in a tray. The cups will be submerged in water, in a bain-marie. So it's basically going to bake surrounded by water, and that's going to keep the custard nice and moist, nice and smooth. Now, I made some last night, and this is what it's going to look like in the end. So what we want to do is put sugar in the raw over that and burn it, and it's in the form of crust. But I'll do that in a little while, right? Be patient. Right, here we go. So now what I'm going to do is let this come to room temperature, because what I'll be doing is pouring this in cups. Hey guys, we're back. I hope you ain't missed me too much. But right now what I'm going to do is with the my creme brulee mixture, which this is the custard, what we're going to do is put hot water in here. So hot water surrounds both bowls, and what it's going to make it do, that's going to help it cook thoroughly and give it the creaminess that it has. You know, cooking it in bain-marie is what they call it, and you're submerging it in hot water in the oven. So it's basically another technique. And what you want to do, that's basically it. I like to spread it out. So you want it to cover at least half of the cup. And there's a little more I could put in. Bam. From here goes it into a convection oven at 300 degrees for 40 minutes. And what you're going to want to find is that what I found for doneness, or when it was ready, I kind of tapped on the oven, shook the oven. If it shakes too much, then it's not supposed to come out. If it's real gelatinous, or like not gelatinous, but you know, it wobbles, you want it to be nice and stiff. And then it goes into the fridge overnight, and then that's where it's gonna harden. And then you come back the next day and pull it out. Like I did this last night. But I definitely wanted to have a demo to show you how I got to this. So this is overnight chilled. After this, we're gonna put sugar over that. burn it with this to form a crust, and that's creme brulee, baby. Now, it could go straight into the oven just like this. For 40, let me clear my oven out. Whew. Now, remember, always when you're touching stuff, tap on it. We never grab for anything hot. You always want to tap on stuff because it could be extremely hot and you drop stuff, you hurt yourself. So a quick tap in the kitchen is how we used to test. Oh, that's heavy. That is heavy. So bingo. Bake. $340 minutes, and you come back and you got creme brulee. Yeah, so I would love to meet some of you guys, and all the way from New York City. We could do chicken, fish, steak, appetizers, and I'm available. Again, my email is bxchef829@gmail.com. I'm also a visual artist. This is actually my logo here. Excuse my hair, it's getting a little spotty. But this is my logo that I've made, and this is actually what my catering logo I want this to be. When you see this symbol, you know the food's gonna be good. At least that's my goal. But yeah, I had to dig into other mediums of art, and it's kept me at peace. And I was sitting around drawing this one day, just at my desk, and then all of a sudden now it's on hats, and I was just messing around, and it turned into something. I'm moving forward, even though I made the hat and everything, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Isn't that crazy? I made it, I'm like, I don't know. So now I'm starting to be like, wait a minute, maybe it could be for catering. So, yeah, if there's anybody out there also that could call me and try to guide me or maybe mentor me on what to do with certain things and designs or clothing or whatever, and I'm always open to hearing new things. And if I could learn something off of somebody, then I'm willing to go there. Yeah, take all the opportunities you can get, and I'm very, very thankful for this one, I tell you. There's nothing more that I would want to do on a day like today than this, you know. I am tired, I am gassed out, my energy is very low, but something got me through this, and you know, and you got to dig deep. I had to dig deep too, because I woke up at 4 in the morning today because I was so excited about this. And Mark was on his way, and I was starting to get tired, like, holy smoke, I don't know if I could do it, but it was the excitement. And I'm thinking of what I was going to say, and do I have to have a script? And I freestyled this whole thing, so I don't but yeah, this is wonderful. So yeah, back to the creme brulee. This is one of my favorite desserts. It's high in cholesterol, but we'll do this every once in a while, you know. Now, there's another drink that I wanted to do. My goodness, I almost forgot. Be back. This is going to be ginger beer, which is not alcohol. It's just called ginger beer. And this is the crispiest ginger ale ever. I love it. So, wait, oops. No, what we want to do is the cider first. Sorry. Always the spritzer last. And you top it. 3/4 of the way apple cider, then you top the rest with ginger ale or ginger beer. look at that. Wrong cap. And then last but not least, I want to you garnish it with an apple slice, apple cider topped with ginger ale, cinnamon stick for a garnish, and a floating apple slice. Now my stick went a little low here, so I'm gonna try my concoction. I'll say cheers to you all. Much love. I'm gonna drink some before I spill it. Oh wow. Now if you let the cinnamon sit in there for a little while, the drink will take the cinnamon flavor and the taste. But it's a great holiday drink, and the cider and stuff, it complements everything we have here. I'm gonna come up with a name for this one. I know there's another name on the internet maybe for it, but I'm gonna come up with my own variation, and I hope you guys enjoy. This is mostly like a wintertime holiday drink, with the being apple cider. You know, we always use that around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So, oh, it's delicious. Yeah. So yeah, wow, that's about it. Are we? Oh, let me get the sugar so I can show the creme brulee crust. You guys are still there? Yes. Look at that. So now with creme brulee crust, you want to coat sugar, and you don't want too much. So you almost want to put the excess back in there. You do want a nice helping, nice serving, or helping, yeah, so it can form a nice crust. Now, it's the first time I'm using this torch, so. All right, so you guys get the point. I think that's the best I could do for now without hurting myself. So when you do it, sometimes you let it sit, the oxygen, you let it sit out room temperature, and the oxygen will harden it up, and that's gonna be it's supposed to make that crunchy sound. And I might as well take a spoon and dig into it myself, right? Right, here we go. Cheers. Oh, I didn't get the crunch, but oh, my legs went weak just now. Oh, that's good. All right, the cameraman, I need him to come over here. But no, when he will, wow. This is good. This is good. So, you got the creaminess with the crust and the contrast. It's delicious. So please do this, guys, because this is going to be the impressor, the finisher. This whole meal is going to be good, but this one, they're going to be like, wow, you know, this will blow some people away. Look how creamy that is. And that's all the bain marie, cooking it in the steam bath. That keeps it like that and cooks it thoroughly. And oh, that's good.
Okay, we're back. Listen, this is the best part of the show for me, where I get to taste the food. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm behind the camera, my stomach is going crazy, and I've been dying for this part of the show, the ending where I get to taste it. Bobby, let me have it.
You got arugula salad.
Okay.
With oil and vinegar dressing.
Okay.
I don't go heavy with dressing on arugula salad.
Okay.
You got diced cucumber, tomato.
Okay. Let me ask you,
shredded
so
carrots.
this sauce right here, that was for the lobster,
that's
right?
beurre blanc for the lobster.
Okay.
You're gonna love that sauce.
I gotta try this steak.
Beurre blanc for the lobster. And this is I did go a little over on the temperature, which is what I like, but I think because I was talking and but it's still good, huh?
Yes, it's very good. We're gonna talk. I just need a couple more bites.
That's organic. That's organic beef from Empire Butchers in College Point, Queens. And I want to thank John and his family for supplying this meat for me. I couldn't have done this episode without you.
Let me try the potatoes. Okay, we gotta talk. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm eating up all the food.
Now you see the egg, the consistency of it gives it more of a fluffiness almost.
Okay, let's talk. One thing, you were so much more relaxed this time. Like it was amazing to see you just flow.
Yeah.
So I want to give you your props on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Before we get into this, I also want to thank you. What's happening on the episodes that when I release them like every month, or for YouTube and social platforms, and I give all the guys their segments and for them to put on their pages, promote, especially Facebook. And I gotta give Bobby credit, because anybody who every time I release one, he's constantly promoting those other people, constantly promoting. So I want to tell you thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
I'm going to tell you thank you for that. And the guys that you're promoting, I'm sure they're grateful for that too.
Yeah.
You're definitely a team player. Bobby, let's talk, man. This was amazing. This was just an amazing meal. Let me get one more piece and then we will talk. So you were saying your grandmother inspired you to cook, right?
Yeah.
And how old were you when you started getting familiar with the kitchen?
9. I was reheating food from leftovers from the night before.
Okay.
And then eventually it turned into necessity. Well, I gotta cook or I'm gonna starve. Live on my own. And then working in a restaurant helped, because I would bring home menus to study them.
Okay.
And then they would end up in my house. My friends would come over and be like, "Hey, can you make this? Can you make that?" So I would make stuff off of the menu that I worked at, and people were like, "Yo, you need to go to school." And I'm like, "Nah." You know how many times I was like, "Nah, I didn't know if I could do that."
We all been there.
I don't know. And I was intimidated by the measuring and all this. And wow, they got stuff chopped up already for them. Like, I'd be like, man, I'd do that too if I didn't have to chop everything and have it in front. But that's the most exciting part about it now that I'm here. Okay. I love prepping. I love going out to shop for it, no matter how long it takes. So yeah.
You mentioned MS and the battles you have, the challenges you have.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the time where, it was a time, Bobby kind of touched on it, but it was a time we had a segment planned, and Bobby got a little sick, and one thing, I did my homework just to get a better understanding of what he goes through. It's my guy, so of course, if he's not feeling 100%, then we ain't going forward. And so I just want you to know I appreciate you for that. I definitely understand. Through you, I got I educated myself on MS, and so to see you here doing it and not letting it stop you, it's just amazing to see. You also do art as well.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that? For the people who, because you mentioned it before, but the people who are seeing you for the first time, how long you been into your art?
Oh wow, since junior high school. But I'll say recently I got back into my art again heavy when I was 38.
Okay.
When I came on hard times, and through those hard times I was drawing, sketching, and unfortunately I ended up in a shelter.
Okay.
And when I did my best work? When I was stripped of anything and I had no possessions.
And your back was against the wall, what you said?
Against the wall.
Okay.
And I had no possessions. That was my happiest. When I had nothing. I had a cot, I had 3 meals, and a sketch pad. And I was banging out, and I'm like, all right, let me reform my path that I had to do.
Okay.
So I churned those hard times. Then they were like, the people in the shelter, they saw me drawing and you want to go to school? And so I took the opportunity to go to school. I did 2 years at the Art Student League
Okay.
for, not fine arts, but I did life painting.
Yeah, because your paintings are really good.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Your paintings are really good and they're versatile. And yeah, I was shocked that that wasn't your full-time thing. You know, when I'm, putting it on the other segment, I'm like, damn, Bobby's like really doing the damn thing with these.
Yeah.
You're very talented, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
So speaking of talent, let's talk about, and you promoted it, and I love that. But tell us a little bit more about the online cooking and teaching. You think that might be a kind of heavy challenge for you, or?
It would be a challenge that I would love to take on.
Okay, so you're ready to, okay.
And again, I have to do it when I'm ready and stuff.
Good.
But yeah, right.
Let's talk about that next. Okay.
So I have to listen to my own body.
Okay.
And there's sometimes she calls me and I'm like, oh man. And you know what? So all I do is sit in a chair and say, dice this, dice that, cut that, and I'm tired at the end, just from sitting there.
Yeah.
So, it is. And then the next day, sometimes I can't do much because of what I did
Prior.
So I don't want to tell people, well, I'll do this and then not show up. And that's one of the things that I always show up. I try, but
no, you definitely are. I mean, I appreciate you so much. I tell everybody I meet, I tell them about you because you're inspiration.
Man,
You're inspiration. For a lot of my friends, I know about Bobby. I spoke about him enough, and so he's back and doing his thing. Now, Bobby, you got a lot going on. What's going on here? This tastes really good.
Yeah, that's apple. I'm sorry. It is cider, apple cider.
Okay.
3/4 of the way, and then I top it off with ginger ale, cinnamon stick, and an apple slice for garnish.
That's really, really good.
It's simple, but then it's nice, right? It's nice. You could almost have it warm, almost. You feel like.
Have it warm, and it's no alcohol in there.
None at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spicy drink. I gotta try the lobster with
Please.
The sauce, so we gotta talk.
This is the one. That sauce right there. That's the one I wanted you to really taste because that's the home run.
Dip it in there?
Yep. Now, it could be probably a little warmer. Yeah.
What? Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that sauce, I never fail with that one. Everybody loves that one. Beurre blanc.
Bobby, I couldn't do that if I wanted to.
No.
That sauce, I mean, that's really good. I mean, I'm really gonna try that.
Very simple.
To you.
Yeah.
To you. I mean, remember, you're texting me this and I'm looking up words. I can't even pronounce the words.
Yeah.
So, this is really, really good.
Man, thank you.
Yeah, can I get one more?
Please do. That's all for you, man. Here you go.
This makes, like you have to, as far as lobster, you have to add this to your repertoire. I mean, I'm going to learn this. That's a game changer. That's a game changer. This meal, surf and turf, it does have its challenges because you got to cook everything right.
Yeah.
But you've added stuff that, like just this alone, like how do I even make that? Like how do, but if once you make it, you always have, like, to go back and eating lobster tails without this sauce is going to be like, wow.
Yeah. What did you eat lobster tails with before?
Butter.
Butter, okay. Yeah, that works. Clarified butter, yeah. That's
butter and just, do my thing, but I have to learn this because this is really incredible right here. I'm going to, This is really good. I'm sorry for being greedy, but
no, please do. This is what I do all this for. I just to sit there and watch you.
This is really.
And
you were right about this. Yeah. Let it be.
Let it be, right? Yeah. And it's a little spicy, a little mustardy almost in a way.
Yeah.
And it's got its own characteristics to where you don't want to do much.
Yeah,
so
let this be.
Oil and vinegar. That's it. And you got the protein component with the nuts.
Okay.
Nuts have good protein, and a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, this is really, really good. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Bobby, I have to try this.
Yes.
This is like Christmas. Christmas in
February, yeah. I'm confident. I know that one is good.
Got the crunchy top.
Yeah.
Damn.
See, I'll admit, I can be confident, but I'm never cocky. Cockiness is what I don't like, but there's nothing wrong with being confident, you know? And I knew you was going to like that. I knew you was going to like all of it, but...
Yeah. Damn, that's really good.
It is,
There's a
right?
lot going on.
Yeah, you don't want to put it down. And right, you see, taste the creaminess and smooth and...
Here's the creaminess.
Yeah.
I love the crunchy top.
Yeah.
It's like you're breaking the top layer of ice.
Yeah.
But instead of coldness, it's like you're then getting into warm water. It's great. It's like this has been so amazing. I'm sorry, guys. I should be asking them more questions, but Bobby's information will be on the bottom of the screen. I want you guys to reach out to him. And let's put Bobby to work. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm always learning from him. He also posts his other video of his food, so I'm constantly looking at that as well. The brother is always striving to get better, and so yeah. And like I said, you know, I appreciate you supporting not just me. I appreciate you coming back on the show, but I just appreciate the other guys you support.
Oh man!
And I don't even have to ask. You just kind of and that's just a beautiful thing. Like I said, his information will be on the bottom of the screen. Learn. You know, some of you guys out there can learn from Bobby and then come on the show and be like Bobby sent me. So, listen, I gotta finish this meal.
All right.
Is there anything else you wanted to say? I'm sorry. I just.
No. I think I got a lot in because I was talkative this time. You know, I was more comfortable. You know.
I'm proud of you. Yeah. You were.
And again, the camera thing was never a thing for me. I was always, if I was in the background. I was always, no, I'll do behind the scenes and back, which behind the scenes is cool too, but I never saw myself as this guy and talking to the world and articulating myself, but I was downing myself. So I basically saw this happening. I saw all this happening already, which basically I manifested. We have to manifest things and make them happen. And be what you want to be. I pictured this happening already. You happy and
this is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, you know, think highly of you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man.
It is about growth. You're just more comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable. You always knew your stuff, but you're more comfortable. And yeah. Listen. I gotta finish this meal. I mean, it just tastes so. Everything tastes so good. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No. I just want to say thank you guys for listening, watching. Marcus has given me an opportunity that I'm so glad I took, and because I'm growing, he got me back into all of this. I literally was like, I'm not cooking no more. I'm dropping out, and I'm done. So I get a call. And you really got me going again, man.
Listen.
I went out and got this.
Yeah,
and, all this. So I gotta thank you. You don't even know.
Listen, whenever you want to get back on the show, let me know. This is always your home.
Oh, man.
Always your platform.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So, on that note, when she no longer wants to cook for you, Bobby, City Island, showed us what to do. My brother, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
All right, man.
Guys, have a good night. We're out.
All right, man. Love you guys. See you next time.